joda zoge jonamna chanjo bardo dani gyapso che dage jinso gebes dola benjiro sanje rubara sho sanje joda zoge dola benjiro sanje rubara sho sanje joda zoge jonamna chanjo bardo dani gyapso dage jinso gebes sonamge dola benjiro sanje rubara sho Om Yedharama Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Dathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Bhati Mahashamana Yesva Om Yedharama Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Dathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Om Yedharama Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Dathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashamanaya Svaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation causes as well as taught by the great seer. Teyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyatha. Okay, we are talking of the sutra where the Buddha taught, and the Salistamba Sutra. Which page is it in the place of non-dual bodhicittas? Salistamba Sutra, page number 63. Okay, Noble Mind Sutra, the rice seedling. If you look at the second paragraph where it reads, okay, look, oftentimes we see the teachings of the Buddha, for example, say the Heart Sutra taught in Vulture's Peak. So here also, this Rajseedling Sutta was also taught in Rajgir, Vulture's Peak. It says, thus, how much do all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas thus ever hear at one time the Bhagavan meaning the Buddha, was residing on the Vulture's Peak mountain in Rajgriha with a great last sangha of 1,250 bhikshus and with a great many Bodhisattva Mahasattvas. At that time, Venerable Shariputra went to the place frequented by the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Aramitria, and after that they had exchanged courtesies upon meeting each other. They both sat down on a flat rock. Venerable Shariputra then said to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, Maitreya, here today the Bhagavan, the Buddha, gazing at the rice seedling, spoke this aphorism to the bhikshus. Bhikshus, whoever sees dependent arising or dependent origination sees the Dharma. Whoever sees the Dharma sees the Buddha. Having said this, the Bhagavan fell silent. Maitreya, what is the meaning of this aphorism spoken by the Sugata? What is dependent arising? What is Dharma? What is the Buddha? How does one see the Dharma by seeing dependent arising? How does one see the Buddha by seeing the Dharma? Okay, this exchange happened, and then the next paragraph, it says, whosoever sees the Dharma sees the Buddha. Well, the phrase dependent arising means that because this exists, that exists, because this is produced, that is produced. That is to say, ignorance causes formation, formation meaning karma, and the karma causes consciousness, consciousness causes name and form, and so forth. This is how the samsara operates. And then the next page 64, the second paragraph reads, when ignorance ceases, then how the samsara stops. If you put effort, then we can bring end to samsara. How we can bring end to samsara is bring an end to ignorance. When ignorance ceases, formation ceases. When formation here meaning karma. When formation ceases, consciousness ceases. When consciousness ceases, name and form ceases. When name and form ceases, sixth sense sources cease. When a sixth sense sources cease, contact ceases. When contact ceases, feeling ceases. When feeling ceases, craving ceases. When the craving ceases, appropriation ceases. When appropriation ceases, becoming ceases. When the becoming ceases, birth ceases. And when the birth ceases, aging and death, sorrow, lamentation, suffering, despair, bewilderment cease. Thus does this entire great heap of suffering cease. This is what the Bhagavan has called dependent arising. So from here we learn very clear that this is what the Buddha taught very clearly. How to stop our suffering is by stopping the ignorance. For that we have the only way is by cultivating the wisdom. So spending time to cultivate the wisdom, meanwhile cultivating the shamatha, Singapore meditation, and of course the bodhicitta supported by renunciation. These are the keys. So some people, and they emphasize so much on just the single part of meditation, saying that this will take you to Buddhahood. Single part of meditation is common to the Buddhists as well as the non-Buddhists. We already shared the story of the Buddha's two teachers, Acharya Alar Kalam and Acharya Udreka. The two teachers, they all reached very high level. They could not exit out of samsara. The samadhi, meditative concentration, they all reached very high level, but they could not exit out of samsara. And when when Prince Siddhartha later became Buddha, the first, according to the common biography, has it that the Buddha becoming Prince Siddhartha having become the Buddha, the first thing that he wanted to do was to repay the kindness to the two teachers. So he was searching, he was just contemplating to look for his two teachers, and realized that the two teachers already passed away. Because the two teachers, why they could not get out of samsara was because of lacking the wisdom, realizing emptiness. You're getting it? They did have all the samadhis, very sophisticated samadhis, single point of meditation, the breathing meditation, all these things, they've all excelled everything, but still they are bound to samsara because they did not have the wisdom of emptiness. It does not mean that with the wisdom of emptiness everything will happen. This is also not true. With the wisdom of emptiness, that is like the axe, but for the axe to cut the person's tree, the person must have the great the enthusiasm. That's a bodhicitta. That enthusiasm should come from the realization that the wind blowing through this, it hurts me. That I must be freed from this problem. This problem is very severe. That's a renunciation. Then with this you see that others, you are all the dear sentient beings, they're also suffering the same thing, then because of your own experience with the pain, you wish that all others be freed from this suffering, and wishing that I should become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, that becomes bodhicitta. So bodhicitta must be supported by renunciation. With these two things, there's tremendous enthusiasm. Not only what is lacking, there's a tremendous enthusiasm there that I must cut this person's tree for myself and for all the demon sentient beings. And the axe is also very sharp. Still, you cannot cut the tree. There's one problem. What's the problem? Anyone? No, there's a tremendous enthusiasm there.
Axe is not strong.
Axe is extremely sharp. The wisdom is extremely sharp. Still something's wrong. Not something's wrong, something's missing. Rachel?
Concentration, stability.
Concentration, stability. Self-grasping will, that's a tree. Tree is already there, there's self-grasping, this is cut. Right? So what's missing?
Power to cut.
The power to cut is there. Something is missing.
Knowing where to cut the tree. Knowing where to cut the tree.
He knows so well.
Like the action, but doing it.
Doing it because there's tremendous enthusiasm, chopping it, doing top down, never the trees never cut, digging so many wells, no water coming out. Power of bodhicitta is a tremendous enthusiasm. There's bodhicitta. Aiming, yes, aiming to cut the tree.
Not knowing if it's the right tree to cut. Not knowing if it's the exact right tree to cut.
Yes, knowing that this is a person's tree, this is the one created problem. Oh, you know that it must be cut from the root, yes. Manjariji?
Removing it from the roots.
Remove from the root. No, what I'm saying is that yes, I agree with you, but first you have to, the tree is too big that you cannot uproot it directly, so you have to cut it. Consensus is there, enthusiasm so much. So somebody's already given the answer. Okay, Manogaji?
Maybe it's attached to renunciation.
Okay, to cut a tree you need renunciation.
Attachment to which means there is
No, there's no attachment. This is the poisonous, this complicated thing. I have to cut it. Okay, somebody already gave the answer. Anyone? And I've already given the clue. Somebody's given the answer. Yes, Pinzole. Tree is very strong. Yes, no doubt. But X is also equally very sharp. Okay. Somebody's already given the answer. Yes, Hansla?
Maybe perseverance.
Perseverance there. Enthusiasm is amazing.
we have to make sure we're not standing where the tree is falling, so we have in one
First, don't worry about where the tree is falling. We have to cut it. You can even cut it. Okay. Okay, look. Did you hear what Rachel said? Did you hear what Venerable Petrina said? And did you hear what clue that I gave? That you are hitting the eggs top down everywhere, right? So it's not hit at one point. If you hit at one point, it'll cut very quickly. So, but the poor guy, he's not at all experienced woodcutter, right? So what's the difference between experienced woodcutter and the inexperienced woodcutter? Inexperienced woodcutter will hit the tree everywhere, not at one point. You're getting it? So we need to hit at one point. That is known as the stabilization practice, stability practice. Venerable Petrina, what did you say?
stability is steadfast.
Stability practice, which means the meditated concentration. So we need the X, which is the metaphor for wisdom of emptiness. We need the enthusiasm, that's metaphor for bodhicitta. Tremendous enthusiasm to cut this tree so that everybody will be freed from the pains of the skin rashes. And for this we need what? We need to have to experience yourself that the wind blowing through from this tree, the skin rash is extremely painful. The skin rash is so painful. You have to experience wanting to get away from this problem for yourself is known as renunciation. You are getting it? So wanting to remove this problem from everybody is known as Bodhicitta. Wanting to remove this problem from yourself is known as renunciation. So we have renunciation, Bodhicitta, wisdom and emptiness. So what is lacking is that this tree cutter, the wood cutter should be very experienced to hit at the same point all the time, not hitting at all the different places. What is that? There's a metaphor for hitting the same place, the same spot all the time. Is the metaphor for meditative concentration, stability, meditation, or meditative concentration. So these four are required. So henceforth, from what we're learning here is that within this short span of time, 1 week, but we are learning something very important. That is, we need to have the comprehensive path. Without the comprehensive path, you cannot, simply by a partial path, you cannot reach enlightenment. You cannot forget about enlightenment, get rid of your fears of life, to get away from miseries, to get away from samsara. So for that matter, we need the four things. What are the four things required? Raise hand, very quick. Somebody raise hand. Yes, Lakshmi. Wisdom of emptiness, bodhicitta, renunciation, concentration, meditative concentration. Very good. Anybody who can give us the metaphors for each one of these four? Anyone raise hands? Quick, to save time. Yes.
Acts as the wisdom of emptiness.
Oh, the very sharp X, not just X. Very sharp X for the wisdom of emptiness.
Enthusiasm.
Very strong enthusiasm.
For
Bodhicitta.
wanting to actually remove the tree as for yourself as renunciation.
To remove this problem that you get, remove the skin rashes that you get. So that wanting to remove that skin rashes is the renunciation.
Yes.
Then
Wanting to remove everybody's, wanting to remove for everyone.
remove this problem from everybody, so that I should take the responsibility to remove this tree. That is a bodhicitta. What is missing?
Hitting in one place steadily.
Hitting into one place all the time. That is metaphor for meditative concentration. Thank you. Okay, so this is known as a very comprehensive practice. So if you're very serious that I have to get away in this life, I must make it a point that my life is meaningful. If you really want to give a meaning to your life, to make my life meaningful, these four things must be there. For example, say leading a life of getting some money, or say the adventures and so forth. Okay, that's fine. You can do these things. It doesn't mean that you have to forget all these things. Do these things. Meanwhile, particularly when you reach the age, depending on your maturation, some people they mature very fast. When they reach age 30s, they could feel that now I've seen the world. I've seen what life is. What is really meaningful in my life is to look for go into a mental journey, a journey of cleansing my mental defilements to awaken this Buddha nature within me. Okay. And then some people when they reach 40s, they discover this. Some people when they reach 50s, said, okay, now look, I'm growing old. Right? My body surrendered with the COVID vaccine. My body surrendered. You know that? Like 50 plus, 40, I don't know. 50 plus, this body surrenders. With the vaccine, your body will not show any reaction. The body already surrenders. You try to fight. Initially, you try to fight for about a few minutes. I started to have this fever, and after that, the fever is gone. No hope. The body surrendered. So if it's a young body, they continue to fight for 3, 4, 5 days, right? Pinzole, your body fought?
For like 2 to 3 days.
2 to 3 days, yeah. Because your body, the cells are very energetic, strong. Whereas it's already, Okay, so with 50, some people realize that, okay, now I have to really look for a meaningful life. And some people, when they're 60, still they think that they're young. Still they don't discover that. Okay, it depends on your level of maturation. So if you study these things way ahead of time, then the maturation will come faster in you. And then the earlier is always better to start this meaningful journey earlier the better. This is always better. Okay, so from that point of view, I'm sure many of the elders who already into Dharma for a long time, when they see these young faces, for sure they are so happy. The elders are so happy to see that the young ones, they are starting at such a young age. Very fortunate. Okay. So with this, what was he saying? Okay, very comprehensive path. 4 things are required. Now, the emptiness. Without emptiness, no the freedom from miseries. That's for sure. And the great saint, I think, Shavara, where is it? The compilation on emptiness and the wisdom of dependent origination. Can you see that? The compilation on emptiness, wisdom and emptiness. Where is it?
Vijay, you also asked me to remind you of the question you asked today: is emptiness an affirming negative phenomena or a non-affirming?
Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, dependent origination emptiness, page 213. If we are on the same page, what is there, 213? Good. Okay, it is on page 216. Page 216 by Saint Saraha. Saint Saraha was the teacher of Nagarjuna. So what he said is this is extremely important. So in future, let us not be easily swayed by, say, people who are themselves not well informed about the complete Buddhist path, complete teachings of the Buddha. Are you following what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that don't easily be swayed by people who themselves are not well informed of the teachings of the complete teachings of the Buddha. So no, you don't have to do any of these things. Just practice this. Just practice. No study required. But a study. This is extremely the unwise. And if you are being swayed, you are very unfortunate. So don't be swayed. You should be able to influence others positively. Because these people, they are not well informed. So you should be the one, given that you know why we need these 4 things and related to the metaphors. With the 4 metaphors, you know the importance of each one of them. Not that one is better over the other. All these 4 are required. So with this, then this is what I told you. And now let's see the authentic sources. So the great Saint Saraha, who was the teacher of Nagarjuna, who in turn is revered as the second Buddha in the minor tradition. So the great Saint Saraha said, by entering into emptiness but devoid of compassion was a problem. So if you have emptiness, wisdom of emptiness, but without compassion, then what's the problem? The problem is that one will not find the supreme path to Buddhahood. You will not attain the infinite happiness. You will not attain Buddhahood if you don't have the compassion. On the other hand, if you have the compassion but not the wisdom of emptiness, by meditating upon compassion alone, one will not attain liberation. Liberation meaning nirvana. The fearlessness will not attain liberation but remain in samsara. Without the wisdom of emptiness, even if you have compassion, but without the wisdom of emptiness, you will not even be liberated from samsara. The one capable of grasping the unity and unity of the two, compassion, the heightened version of which is Bodhicitta and the wisdom of emptiness, these two together, the one capable of grasping the unity of the two, will not remain in samsara, nor abide in personal nirvana. Nor remain in samsara, you will be freed to Buddhahood. And you will not get stuck in the personal nirvana. You will attain the full Buddhahood, not just a partial nirvana. So therefore we need the two things. What are two things? Wisdom of emptiness and the compassion, the heightened state of which is bodhicitta. So what about the other two? We said four. So the great sense only mentioned two. So what about the other two? What are the two things left? Renunciation and meditative concentration. Where are these two? Anyone? Exactly. Renunciation should be the support. Not a part, it should be the support. Should be the ground for the bodhicitta. Good. So renunciation is implicitly indicated here. Not explicitly indicated, but implicitly indicated here by indicating the bodhicitta. What about meditative concentration? Yeah?
Perhaps it's meant by the grasping the unity of the two.
Unity of the two is the wisdom and the compassion.
And if you grasp at it, it's capable of grasping the unity.
Grasping meaning to have the two together. Grasping the two meaning to have the two together. So where is the meditative concentration? In the wisdom of emptiness. So the most refined version of the wisdom of emptiness, the non-dual wisdom of emptiness. And non-dual wisdom of emptiness, the meditative experience that you require should be extremely high level. Without this, you cannot have the non-dual wisdom of emptiness. You're getting it? So all the four are indicated there. Two are indicated explicitly, and the remaining two are indicated implicitly by identifying the wisdom of emptiness explicitly and the compassion as explicitly. Okay, good. So from this we know that we come to learn that these are the four things required if you really want to give a meaning to your life. And some people, they're very happy, okay, I do meditation just by single point meditation all the time, and no bodhicitta, no wisdom of emptiness, and no renunciation. This is very unfortunate. So now, instead of you being swayed by people saying that, what are you doing, what is bodhicitta retreat, practice, you don't require bodhicitta retreat. So you should not be swayed. Instead, you should be the positive influence on these people. They require your help. You're getting it? This is so important. Okay. So with this in mind, what we are talking about is whosoever sees dependent origination will see the Dharma. And whosoever sees the Dharma will see the Buddha. What is dependent origination? So here, His Holiness the Dalai Lama identifies the dependent origination on 3 levels and sometimes 2 levels. So there is no contradiction there. It's just the same. Let me say it again. Dependent origination can be understood to be of 3 levels or 2 levels. First, I'll explain the 3 levels, and then we'll go to the 2 levels. The 3 levels are the first one, and the order should not be confused. Order must be the way I'm presenting it. There's a reason there. The first one is dependent origination of the results, dependence on the causes. Dependent origination of the results, dependence on causes. Number 2, dependent origination of the wholes, dependence on parts. The wholes, dependence on parts. Dependent origination of the wholes, dependence on the parts. For example, the house as a whole, that makes sense, but dependence on the wall in its parts, such as the walls, the ceiling, the pillar, the floor, the windows, doors, and so forth. Dependent origination of the wholes, dependence on the parts. And number 3, dependent origination of dependence on mere mental designation. Dependent origination of dependence on the mere mental designation. Dependent origination of dependence on mere mental designation, mental imputation, mental designation, same. So how these three, yes.
Sorry, I don't understand the
Third one, mental, the dependent origination of dependence on mere, M-E-R-E, mere mental designation, mental imputation. You don't know the meaning? This is what I'm saying? Okay, you want to know the meaning? Okay, I'm here to explain it. Okay. Okay. First, what's the first? Okay. Dependent origination of the results depends on causes. Result meaning any composite phenomena. Any composite phenomena, all impermanent phenomena, they must come into being by dependence on their earlier causes and conditions. So this includes the cause and effect relationship. This is equivalent to cause and effect relationship. Within the cause and effect relationship, there are two kinds. One, which is a karmic cause-effect relationship, and the other is non-karmic cause-effect relationship. There are two. Cause-effect relationship, there are two. One is karmic cause-effect relationship of the karma, and the other one is non-karmic cause and effect relationship. For example, let's say the leaf falls, or the dry wood falls, and it makes a sound. That's not coming. That's not coming. And the sunflower, when it is turning towards the west, and when the sun shines, it turns towards the left, towards the sun, towards the east. That is not karmic. That is pure chemical cause-effect relationship. What is karmic cause and effect relationship? So we say that, I meet with so many obstacles, so many bad things are happening, tragedies are happening to me. I'm going through a very bad, experiencing the result of bad karma. What do you mean by bad karma? What's a karmic cause and effect relationship? What is that? This question.
One created by volition, by will.
Very good. Good. Okay. So karmic. Let's say that do you think that my hand will naturally, if my hand is put like this, and if I fall asleep, what do you think? My hand will fall or it will go up? It will fall. This is the natural cause-effect relationship. Whereas my hand is down now, and then suddenly it comes up. What do you think? Do you think there is a natural cause-effect, or there's something there? He must be thinking of doing something, right? This hand will not come up naturally. Coming up means there's a volition, there's an intention involved. In other words, cause and effect where the mental factor of intention is involved, that is karmic cause-effect. Cause-effect where the volition or the intention, mental factor of intention, where the mental factor of intention is involved, that is known as karmic cause and effect. Where, for example, my hand, I keep it like this, and suddenly I fall asleep, and then my hand falls. It has nothing to do with my intention. It is a natural phenomena. So that is known as non-karmic cause-effect relationship. For example, my hand coming up, this is karmic because intentions involved this action. Whereas the sunflower moving towards the east, showing towards the east when the sun rises, it has nothing to do with karma. It's purely mechanical. That is without intention. That is non-karmic cause and effect relationship. This is what we need to know. Two things. and the say whole universe is operating on a basis of the first level of dependent origination. Let's not forget it. Whole universe is operating on the basis of cause and effect relationship, the first dependent origination. Okay. Now, for information, that what I'd like to share with you is that let's say that what we said is that the phenomena can be classified into composite and non-composite. You remember that? Impermanent, the permanent phenomena. And impermanent phenomena, all impermanent phenomena should necessarily fulfill all the three levels of dependent origination. Impermanent phenomena must necessarily have all the levels of the three levels of dependent origination. Whereas what is left now? Impermanent done. Permanent phenomena. Permanent phenomena has only the second and the third level of dependent origination. It does not have the first level of dependent origination. Let me repeat it. The permanent phenomena or the non-composite phenomena, it only fulfills the second and the third level of dependent origination. It does not fulfill the first level of dependent origination. Now, for your information, technically speaking, this is a very technical aspect. Technically speaking, Chitta-mantra, I say the Madhyamika, how many Buddhist philosophical schools are there? What are there? Good attempt, thank you. Okay, raise hands. Okay, Jonathan.
Vaibhashika, Sankrantika, Chitta-mantra, and Madhyamaka.
Wonderful.
Swatantrika, Vaibhashika, Sankrantika, Chitta-mantra, Madhyamaka.
Very good. Okay, Vaibhashika, Sautrantika, Chitta-mantra, Madhyamika, right? The four. Out of the four, the first three, what are they? Vaibhashika, Sautrantika, Chitta-mantra. These three schools, for them, dependent origination means only the first level of dependent origination. For them, dependent origination means the first level of dependent origination. In other words, for them, dependent origination and impermanent phenomena, these two are synonymous. Let's not forget that these are the technicalities. For the first three schools, Vaibhashika, Sautrantika, Chitta-mantra, dependent origination and impermanent phenomena, these two are synonymous. So dependent origination is not applicable to permanent phenomena. It's applicable only to the composite phenomena, and it only means the first level of dependent origination. It does not talk about the second and the third level of dependent origination. Let's not forget it. And whereas for Madhyamikas, dependent origin means all three, not only the first, all three, which means dependent origination for Madhyamikas. Do you think that Madhyamikas, dependent origination and impermanent phenomena, these two are synonymous? No? Yes? Hey, for Madhyamikas, dependent origination and impermanent phenomena, are these two synonymous or not? No? Yes? Some say yes, some say no. Okay, no? Why not? How not? How not? So how? What makes you think that dependent origination and impermanent phenomena, these two are not synonymous? Yes? Yes? So? Are you sure? Okay, you are getting somewhere. I want somebody to make it even clearer. You want to make clear?
So the impermanent two levels, so yeah, you can't say that it's synonymous. Because
Dependent origination and impermanent phenomena, these two are not synonymous because
you can find something that is, say, for the second level of different information, that's something that is...
okay, both of you try to explain in a similar way. Good. To make it simple, I'll give an analogy. The male, the boys, and the human beings, are these two synonymous or not? Huh? These are not synonymous. Okay, raise hands. Those who said not synonymous. Raise hands. Raise hands. Okay, Pablo, tell me how these two are not synonymous. Okay, let's say, Insela, how these two are not synonymous? The male, okay, the boys, and the human beings. How these two are not synonymous? Say it again, I could not hear you.
Human beings represent the species and male represents
Okay, yours one is very philosophical. Okay, the second youngest member here is very philosophical. Okay, I could not follow this. What you said is, if the human being represents a species and the male represents a gender. Wow, that's amazing. Wonderful. Good. Thank you. Anyone else? Raise hands. Raise hands. Raise hands. Raise hands. Okay, here.
All human beings are not male. All males are female.
Very good. All human beings are not males. What examples do you have? Perfect. Let's not forget it. So, in other words, the males and the human beings, the two cannot be synonymous because there are human beings which are not males. Likewise, dependent origination and impermanent phenomena cannot be synonymous because yes, because they are dependent origination which may not be impermanent phenomena. What are they? Permanent phenomena. You're getting it? So this is how we are being very directly giving a very precise answer. So dependent origination and impermanent phenomena, these two are not synonymous because they are dependent origination which does not fall under the impermanent, which are not impermanent phenomena. What are they? Permanent phenomena there, which are dependent origination but not impermanent. So if these two are synonymous, whatever is A should be B, whatever is B should be A. You're getting it? Okay. So for Madhyamika, say what can be the synonym of dependent origination for Madhyamika? Anyone? Raise hands, raise hands. Raise hands. I'm looking for hands. 1, 2, 3, yeah, there. Emptiness. That's interesting. Emptiness and dependent origination, are these two synonymous? What is not emptiness is not dependent origination, is what I'm saying. So flower is not emptiness. Flower is conventional truth. Emptiness is always non-affirming negative. Flower is a positive phenomenon. So flower is dependent origination, but it's not emptiness. Anybody else? Yes. Oh, that's interesting. Phenomena and dependent origination, these two are synonymous. Your name? Yangila. Okay, Yangila is saying that dependent origination is synonymous with phenomena. How many agree with Yangila? Raise hands. Okay, how many you don't agree with Yangila? Raise hands. Why not? To make it very simple, how to see whether these two are synonymous or not? Just check with A, B. Whatever is A should be B, whatever is B should be A. If that is qualified, we can say these two are synonymous. Okay, in other words, in Madhyamika point of view, everything is dependent originated because dependent origination, it has 3 levels, not only 1 level, 3 levels, and the impermanent phenomena qualifies all the 3 levels of dependent origination, and the permanent phenomena qualifies the 2nd and 3rd level of dependent origination. So there's no phenomena other than the permanent and impermanent. So all phenomena should be dependent originated, and what is dependent originated should be phenomena. So these two are synonymous. Thank you, Angela. So dependent origination and phenomena, these two are synonymous. According to Madhyamika, according to Chittamatra, what is that thing which is synonymous with dependent origination? Anyone? Impermanent phenomena. Impermanent phenomena and dependent origination, these two are synonymous from the point of view of Chittamatra, Svatana, the South Trend school, and Vaibhashika school. Good. Okay. So I'm going to quickly explain these three levels of dependent origination. The first one, dependent origination, the results depends on causes. All impermanent phenomena, they are results. They should necessarily come into being by dependence on their respective causes. This is a very important concept in the Buddha's teachings, where the Buddha taught, Ye dharma hetu prabhava. All phenomena arise from, all phenomena meaning, all composite phenomena arises from the causes. And what are the causes? Particularly the causes of the miseries, they are taught by the Tathagata. And how to bring an end to these causes as well as taught by the great seer. Let's not forget this. Yes.
Who is the Buddha and the great seer?
Say it again.
What you said, Siddhartha and the great seer, can you explain? Siddhartha and the great seer. Explanation of Siddhartha and the great seer.
Oh, Sugata and great seer. Tathagata. Okay. Tathagata is the one epithet. Epithet meaning a label, a name of the Buddha. Tathagata is a label or epithet. More precisely, is the epithet of a Buddha, which means the one who has gone to the suchness, one has gone to the ultimate, one who has seen the ultimate in his bare form. That's Buddha. Tathagata, the one who has gone to the ultimate, one has gone to the thusness or the suchness. Tathagata. The great seer. The great seer means the great saint. The great saint. Okay, good. So next is dependent origination of what is the second one? Dependent origination of wholes, dependence on the parts, right? So over there we see, for example, the house is dependent on its parts. So if you want to have a beautiful house, the parts must be nice. And if you want to take care of your hands, you have to take care of the fingers, and you take care of the palm, the bones, the skin. You have to take care of all the parts. So if you don't know the dependent origination of the wholes depends on the parts, then you, in the pretext of taking care of the whole, you may not take care of the parts. For example, let's say the sometimes this is the problem. We don't see that we want ourselves to be say that the you want to be safe. How many of you want to be safe from COVID? Raise hands. How many of you want to be safe from COVID? Raise hands. Are you good? Okay, now it is more relaxed, but the 2020 is very scary. How many of you felt it's extremely scary? 2020. Raise hands. Okay. How many of you lived in the world of ignorance is bliss? Right. What is this, right? Okay. So then, if you did not feel this, either you are a very enlightened being, or you live in ignorance is bliss. Okay. It was very scary, very scary. So then, what did we do? We start hoarding the food, right? We start hoarding the food, hoarding the groceries, and what? Everything we start hoarding, and the shops are all empty, right? People cannot buy anything. Okay, so why? That I should not have the COVID, right? That I should not have COVID. So to make sure that I have least contact with the outside world, I should have everything hoarded. Okay, and then you don't take care of others. I. Okay, if you buy everything, then others will not get. Who cares? right? So you don't take care of the whole. You neglect the whole. You don't see these two things are connected. You take care of yourself. Okay. So you don't take care of the whole. You means because of this you neglect the whole. When the whole is neglected, the other part somewhere should be neglected, which means others are neglected. When the others are neglected, COVID is there with others, right? COVID is with others, and the COVID, one day you need, say you may have ordinary flu, right? An ordinary flu with the heavy, high temperature, fever. So you go to hospital, right? And you meet with the people there who are sick because you don't care of them. Now they have become sick, and then you bring the COVID from there, right? You neglect the whole, and because of this you neglect the parts. You neglect the parts, and the whole is neglected. With the whole neglected, there the fusion happens, the transmission happens, COVID happens. You are not spared from the COVID. You getting it? So if you don't see the interconnectedness between the whole and the parts, then you suffer. Whereas particularly the world leaders, if they could see this dependent origination, or how the whole is dependent on the parts, and how the parts also depend on the whole. If the leaders know this, and then today the COVID must have been tackled much easier, much better. It should not have lasted long. Okay. So this says about the dependent origination of the wholes and the parts. How the whole is dependent on parts, and the parts also depend on the wholes. And the third one, what is the third one? Dependent origination of the dependence on a mere mental designation or mere mental imputation. So that is the subtlest version of dependent origination. To understand the subtlest version of dependent origination, you have to understand the third one. And to understand emptiness, you have to understand the third level. Just by understanding the first and second level of dependent origination does not suffice to understand the emptiness. You getting it? If you really want to understand emptiness, you have to understand the third level of dependent origination. Okay, the permanent phenomena, how does it qualify the second and the third level of dependent origination? Good. Third is okay, but the second level, the parts and the whole. Okay, this is an interesting question. Anybody who would like to help me? A permanent phenomena, for non-composite phenomena, how can you talk about the parts and the whole? For composite phenomena, yes. For example, say this flower is a composite phenomena, it's an impermanent phenomena. It is made of parts. The material parts are there, atoms. But what about the non-composite phenomena? How are they made of the parts? Yes. Yangchela or Yangila? Yangila. Yes. Okay. If you could remember that if you remember, number one, number two, that if I'm not to change my standpoint, do you remember that I said that the temporal parts and the material parts both are applicable only to the composite phenomena? You remember that? Let's not forget it. And I'm not going to change the stand. Not because I'm a very stubborn person, that's a reality. That temporal parts and the material parts, these two are applicable only to the composite phenomena. Material parts, of course, atoms, only to composite phenomena. Temporal parts is with the time. Time makes sense only with the composite phenomena, something which changes. What changes, the time makes sense with things that are changing. Composite, non-composite phenomena, they don't change. So therefore the temporal parts is not applicable. But what I did say is that for the non-composite phenomena, permanent phenomena of the three levels of dependent origination, number 2 and number 3, these two are applicable, not the first one. So what is number 2? Dependent origination of wholes dependence on the parts. So for non-composite phenomena, permanent phenomena, how can you talk about the whole and the parts? Anyone? Here?
Like you're talking about space, right? For the space is permanent.
A space there are two. Composite phenomena, the composite space and non-composite space. There are two kinds of space.
Even the non-composite space,
Yes, non-composite space?
we still have the direction.
Like what?
That
It is direction?
this non-composite space, the whole space is made up of
Is that material parts or the temporal parts? The directions. Anyone? Anyone? What she said is that even with the non-composite space, for non-composite space, shall I disclose what she said, or you want to say it independently? You want to say something independently?
I don't know what she said, so they cannot.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but to be the level that is, if you put absence of some similaries, some similar laws, west, maybe you can divide.
Okay. So in a way, these two are like the calculus discovered by Newton and the other scientists simultaneously, independently, and they were fighting, right? So whose original thought? Two of you are talking the same thing. Yeah, this is exactly what she's saying. Saying that non-composite space, in non-composite space we can talk about the non-composite space of the Gompa, non-composite space of say the kitchen, non-composite space of the classroom, non-composite space of the library. So we can say that there are different parts. Different parts. This is how we can see things, the non-composite things with the parts. And these parts nothing to do with the what? Material parts, no temporal parts. You getting it? So parts may not necessarily be one of these two parts. You getting it? Temporal parts. So when we speak composite phenomena, what is composite phenomena? Phenomena which are composed of temporal parts or material parts. But whereas the non-composite phenomena, they are not composed of the temporal parts and the material parts, but they are composed of parts. What parts? Like this, how they two of them explained. The non-composite space of Gompa, non-composite space of the dining hall, non-composite space of the library, non-composite space of your room, and so forth. You getting it? Good. You got it? Huh? Okay. In this Gompa, is there non-composite space? Yes. And in your room, is there non-composite space? Okay. So these non-composite space, are these two same or these two are different? Different. So therefore, this is the non-composite space of this side, non-composite space of that side. The two different parts. Yeah, good? Yes?
When you say that the absence of the flower on the hand, it depends on the real flower. And the real flower depends on the parts of the flower, petals. So you can say the absence of the flower depends on the parts of the real flower.
Okay. Absence of flower, okay, let's say that absence of flower, where the absence of flower is, there's no flower. Right? So therefore, in ways like, let's say the flower is dependent on the petals. Where there's a flower, there are the petals. Whereas with the absence of flower, there's no flower. Right? So, is it dependent? Yes, of course, absence of flower makes sense, but depends on the flower. Right? Okay. So so what Yangila is saying, they don't ignore this. This is a very interesting debate. So, absence of flower, is it dependent on the flower? Without the flower, absence of flower makes no sense. Right? So it should depend on the flower. If it depends on the flower, then the flower is dependent on the flower, the gardener. Right? So absence of flower depends on the gardener also. And the gardener is dependent on the food. Right? And the food is dependent on air. Right? So if you go like this, then the dependent origination, it's very interesting. Right? Okay. So, but don't ignore this. This is a very interesting discussion. So when we say that the say absence of flower on the hand, absence of flower of the hand, absence of flower of the singing bowl. So we see that. Okay. For information, in this book, this question is discussed here in the same page. What is that? 216, which we just went through. 216, right? Okay. It should be either after this. Yes, after this, or 221. 221. Okay. Let's actually turn to 222. 222. Are you following me? 222, the second paragraph, which reads. So, say the composite phenomena and non-composite phenomena. Yesterday, if you could remember, composite phenomena and functional things, these two are synonymous. You remember that? Non-composite phenomena, permanent phenomena, non-functional things, they are synonymous. You remember that? You remember that? Yesterday, this is what we discussed. So, here, Lama Tsongkhapa was explaining emptiness. This is extremely succinct, the explanation on emptiness, but of course it requires somebody to explain it. Without this, you cannot understand it. So, Lama Tsongkhapa explains the emptiness of the composite phenomena first. And now, page 222, second paragraph, Lama Tsongkhapa, after explaining the emptiness of the composite phenomena or impermanent phenomena, then he goes to explain the emptiness of the non-composite phenomena. Second paragraph on page 222. So with non-composite phenomena, let's see how he explains it. With non-composite phenomena, what we said is that the parts and whole is applicable. We said it. You're getting it? You remember that? This is how all these discussions came up, and Ladrila asked this question. So let's see the second paragraph, which reads, through this understanding of how emptiness of the composite phenomena is established, now we apply this to the non-composite phenomena. One refutes true existence or objective existence with respect to non-functional objects, non-composite phenomena as well, using similar reasoning. How? Even in the case of non-composite space, we have to accept there are some forms where it pervades and not to others. Some forms meaning some parts which pervade one place, which doesn't pervade to other places. Within that, some pervade the east and others pervade other directions. How the two of them explained? In the same light, the ultimate reality has also many pervading parts. Even the ultimate reality, emptiness, has also many parts. Like what? And has many parts in the sense of being the object of realization of the various temporal moments of the mind. So the mind, you meditate on emptiness. You meditate on emptiness for 10 seconds. Thus, the emptiness as seen by the first moment of the mind, emptiness as seen by the second moment of the mind, you see that emptiness can be explained as different parts, different segments, depending on which mind is seeing the emptiness. Emptiness seen by the first moment of the mind, emptiness seen by the second moment of the mind, emptiness seen by the third moment of the mind. So, because of difference in these different minds, these minds which see the emptiness, there's difference there. You can see you can think about the different isolates of the emptiness, depending on what mind is seeing this. You're getting it? Okay. So, in other words, parts and whole are applicable to the non-composite phenomena as well. And this part, section which we are reading now, page 222, paragraph 2, if you don't understand it too well, don't worry, this is something which has to be explained separately. So why I picked up this is for you to for me to tell you that what I'm sharing is actually coming from a very authentic source from Lama Tsongkhapa's text. So this is what I'm trying to do. Okay, we stop here. Gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhisvatyata gati gati paragati parasamgate bodhisvatyata om gati gati paragati parasamgate bodhisvatyata